that he said that there are PVCs that are printed and people have not collected. But I'll tell you, just today, I was just coming from somewhere. I went to ensure how I could get PVC for some of my people who are actually going to contest and who are actually going to vote. But I'll tell you, close to like about 70 persons that I took there, 70, please count. Couldn't get.
Okay.
And most times, some of them actually relocated because they've actually moved their base from one point of this same Abuja to this Abuja.
Okay.
But they can't even, some cases that they've not printed or is yet to arrive. And on Friday is the end date. So when do they get their PVCs?
Okay.
Except you want to disenfranchise them.
Okay, please, right at the back, yes, give him the mic. And maybe as part of that question, we can ask whether INEC would consider pushing back the deadline for the collection of PVCs, which is supposed to be, I think, Friday, the 8th. Okay, sir, very quickly, please.
Okay, good evening. My name is Architect Osaho Payo Sagedo, AMAC Buhari constituency candidate, House of Representatives, ANN. And this is for the INEC official.
Oh, dear.
I will be sincere with you that a lot of things are going to go on that day. And I believe INEC should be prepared for this. There will be a lot of vote buying. We as a political party, or many of us are political parties here, we are going to try our best. But you need to stand up for all of us, because a lot of incentives will be there on that day.
Okay.
I'm coming from the streets right now, and you would know, you will see what's going on. People are hungry, and a lot of things will go on. So I think you need to brace yourselves up for that day. Be prepared.
Okay.
Because there's so much we can
Sir,
do.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think he gets the message. So maybe you should respond to some of these things before we take a few more questions. No, let's respond to the issues raised. So it's really about what you do about sanctioning people who basically overspend.
Yes.
Then the issue of vote buying, and then the issue of the PVCs.
There are two questions on the issue of vote buying, and I'm happy they're coming from politicians, because the politicians are the vote buyers, basically. So if we're going to address vote buying, we have to address the politicians. We have to sit down. For vote buyers, both buying and selling are illegal. When you say vote buying, it just dignifies what is basically voter inducement or bribery of voters. We think that because the process has gone better, they now see they cannot just bribe security men, bribe INEC officials, so they now go about bribing.
But in your books, whose responsibility is it to arrest that when they see it happening? And when I say arrest, I don't mean physically, I mean stopping it from happening, and to then do something about it if it goes on. Is it INEC or is it the security services that you're working with?
Now, you see, the laws have prescribed the offenses, and it's everybody's duty to ensure that laws are complied with. Everybody's duty, regardless of the type of offense or crime that is committed. So you and I have a basic responsibility. INEC technically does not have a higher responsibility than anybody else. Only in the sense that it has is because it tries to protect the sanctity of the process, to ensure that what we have at the end of the day is because the most popular person wins the election, not necessarily because he outspent or bought votes. So it's important that all of us have our own responsibilities and duties.
So vote buying, this is something that you think can only be done if everybody's on the same page. Essentially, you're saying INEC alone can't do it. That's what I'm hearing.
The givers, INEC doesn't give, it doesn't take. So the givers and the polling units on the marketplace. It's not a bureau de change. So people should ensure that those offering, they refuse those offering. Because it says there's hunger in the land. That is not an excuse to accept bribery.
What about the issue of people who overspend?
Spending limits. Now, let us get one thing clear. The law stipulates how much each candidate can spend. So when you're talking of limits on spending, the first thing you should realize is that candidates cannot overspend beyond their limit. But it's a different thing political parties are also spending on your behalf. INEC, the law says, should sit down with the political parties and limit spending by political parties. That's a totally different thing. So,
do you even have the capacity to actually monitor spending and to be able to know whether people are complying or not?
Extremely difficult, especially because our society is a cash-based society. So a lot of spending is on cash. And secondly, where do you draw the line between philanthropy and cash for votes kind of thing? So if I go to, there are some empowerment schemes. Some people might say pseudo-empowerment schemes. I cannot stop philanthropists from doing empowerment of people.
Even if that philanthropy is just starting at the same time as campaigning has started, I mean, isn't that a bit of money? Come on.
There's no time limit for philanthropy. There is no time limit for philanthropy. You can do philanthropy at any time.
Right, we have
if
to
it's
take
coincidental,
I'm going to have to stop you there because I have to take another quick break. Please don't go away. Welcome back. You are watching The Core. And before INEC finishes with those questions, quickly a few questions from people at home. Agbapure says, why is voters registration not a continuous process? We know people turn 18 every day. Why do we wait? Somebody said, Jedida said, transferred my card from Kano to Abuja since June last year. It's showing that it's ready for collection online, but every time I go to pick up in Lugbe, they say my card is not ready. I'll give you a minute to quickly sort of respond to that, as well as the other things we were talking about.
Okay, thank you. Quickly on the PVCs, we're monitoring the situation, and we have had, quite honestly, we've had a couple of complaints that people who have gone there have not located their cards. We do investigate the reasons for this, and you did ask the question earlier whether there will be a consideration. First of all, whether the elections will be shifted, I said no, categorically, I will not be shifted for that reason, because for shift of elections, the statutory conditions that must be met before we consider shift of elections. The elections will not be shifted. But as for whether the date for collection of cards, that is something that will be considered by the Commission. And I think within the next 24 hours or thereabouts, a pronouncement will be made on that, whether there will be a shift and what remedial measures the Commission can do to alleviate and solve that problem.
Okay. All right. With just a few minutes before the end of the program, I'd like to come back to the panel and basically ask for you, what are the things that must be done between now and Saturday 16th?
Okay, I've said it before at another forum to the INEC.
And I must say you all have a minute each. So
to the INEC chairman, that this process has not only to be transparent, it has to be seen by the people to be transparent. And a lot of that has to do with the people at the INEC officials at the polling units. The INEC chairman has tried several times to instill confidence, but the people at the polling units, the INEC agents at the polling units, are the ones that we should be concerned about. And something has to be done seriously about that, because they're the ones that will be the ones that will be computing the results, that can possibly manipulate the results as well.
Okay.
So that should be our concern.
Okay, Mr. Manuel?
Yeah, I think, like they highlighted, the issue of voter education. INEC needs to do quite a lot of work in voter education. The responsibility is really with INEC as a body to educate the people, and the parties can also support in that particular space. Just mentioning what my colleague has mentioned, I think it's also that Nigerians should know that it's our collective responsibility to ensure that we have a free and fair elections. From the polling booths, talking to all, we all need to be able to man and protect our votes. We must be allowed to do so. So I believe that Nigerians should be at that.
Yeah, this is something that is we have to do, not just in the immediate 2 weeks or so, but even beyond. Yeah. The political process and the management of political parties has to be deregimentalized. There is a lot of pressure on political parties to meet certain conditions which are bureaucratic and unnecessary.
Even with them, we have so many parties.
In the immediate future, INEC must sit down and see whether some of their requirements for political parties are really necessary.
Okay. Mr. Chike?
I would say this, moving forward beyond this election, because what we already have in place, our only hope is that we get free and fair elections. But we need to start looking at the infusion of technologies that can help us mitigate some of the problems we have. For instance, if I can open an account...
It's very difficult to do, for instance, when you have 30 seconds.
Sure. If I can open an account in our bar with a BVN and I can check my bank account and cash money here, we should leverage such technologies for PVC so that people don't have troubles with the transfer. That's one. Now, for all the voters, check out wedonetired.com.
We have run out
of
time. Thank you very much to my panelists and to those who came to the studio to take part in the conversation. To you at home as well. Please go and get your PVCs if you haven't already done so. The deadline is Friday. We've been told it might be pushed back a little. We will wait to hear from INEC on that. And on election day, please go out and vote. On behalf of Channels Television and Daria Media, I'm Kadria Ahmed, wishing you a very good evening.